I was asked to share my story of why I love running the St. George Marathon, and it's evolved over time for different reasons. And I have a special reason of why I do it now. In 2008 was the first year I'd done it, and it felt like I was going against all odds on that race. I was having hip problems and struggling to train, and I just about didn't enter the race. And then I saw a great doctor, the late Dr. Toronto, who recently passed away, and he gave me a lot of encouragement and said, "You can do it." He'd run marathons himself, and he put me on an exercise program and helped me get rid of the inflammation in my hips. And the day of the race came, and it was just pouring, and it rained much of the St. George Marathon race. Apparently that was the most rain that they'd ever had for the marathon. And that was in 2008. When I got to about mile 23.5, all of a sudden I heard my name called, and it was my brother across the street, my younger brother. He was cheering me on, and he was on the opposite side of the street, but he ran probably for 50 yards or so along with me. And that's something I really needed at that moment, and made a big difference for me at that point of the race with 2.5 miles to go. And what a great experience. I finished the race. My family was there. My mom was there. And I said to my mom, "I think I'm going to cry." And she said, "Oh, are you in a lot of pain?" And I said, "No, I'm so happy. I did it." I was so happy I ran a marathon and overcame some challenges getting to the marathon, and the weather, the day of the race, and I was just so happy. Now fast forward 2 years to 2010, and once again in the St. George Marathon. It was October, but the July before, just 3 months before, my same brother was diagnosed with leukemia and found himself in Salt Lake City getting treatments the day of the marathon. In fact, he was scheduled to have a chemo treatment about 6 a.m. It was a family tradition that we always went to St. George to watch our dad run the marathon. He'd been running it since the early 1980s. And so Jeremy wasn't going to be there that year, and was in the battle, his own race, the race for his life. Battling cancer. I ran the race, and I was thinking of him in Salt Lake and getting his treatments, and thinking about what he was going through. And I turned that last corner. I think it's about 0.2 of a mile to go, just before the finish. And as I'm running down that 0.2, I heard my name called again. And there was my brother. And he kind of broke the rules and jumped out around the barricades, and he ran with me, but this time just for a few yards. He had convinced his doctors to move up his treatment from about 6 in the morning to about 3 in the morning. He had his chemo treatment. He and his wife jumped in the car, and from Salt Lake City quickly drove to St. George and got there just in time to see me finish. And that's a memory that I will always have of the St. George Marathon. And so I'm looking forward to running again here in just a few days. And even though there's probably hundreds of people cheering their runners as they finish, for me now, when I finish, even though there's hundreds of people, I still think my brother's there in the crowd, calling my name. And that's a great thing for me in running the St. George Marathon. So here we go again.